So, number one, this is the biggest thing that you need to understand. Okay. I know that a lot of people will tell you that it's the cover, will tell you that it's your promotion. I don't care how good your cover is. I don't care how amazing your promotion is. If your book is shit, pardon my French, that's what kind of writing career you're going to have. So you're, and I believe, yeah. So just to reiterate, 84% of readers will never finish the book if the hook isn't right. Never finish the book. So now you understand when we go to those writers groups and people say, I don't have any reviews, I don't have any sales, can somebody help me? This is probably the reason why is that narrative hook is not right or the quality of the book is not there. They probably okay. Now, how to find your voice. This is probably one of the simplest techniques that I can teach you. Uh, and it really, I'm kind of surprised that a lot of writers don't understand this. A lot of writers do understand this, they just don't do it for some reason. But this is a really simple technique to help you find your voice. Okay. Mostly this is for fiction writers. For poets and things like that, you're probably going to want to read it out loud to find your voice, to make sure you're communicating your poems or your piece to your readers the way that you need to. But when it comes to dialogue and romance or paranormal romance or fantasy, science fiction, whatever, you need to make your dialogue real. And the reason being is because your dialogue is the vehicle for your readers to understand your characters. Besides, I mean, your narration is as well. But if they don't feel like the dialogue is realistic, they're not going to care about the characters. Have you ever tried to talk to somebody and they're using words that you don't understand? Do you want to talk to them often? It almost seems like they're talking down to you all the time, right? Like you want somebody who's kind of on your level, who uses words that you understand, who connects with you, who understands what you're going through and can communicate and duplicate what you're saying. The same thing for your readers. Okay. So if you are writing a fantasy, you don't want to use modern terms like I ain't gonna, you know, ain't nobody got time for that. It's not something you would use in an epic fantasy because that's not how they spoke back then. Now, obviously, there's going to be some words that, cross centuries or however we want to say that, but you want to keep the dialogue a little bit more. You don't want to go too formal, quote unquote, so to speak, but a little more formal than the language that we use today in 2021. Does that make all right? So, how to paint the perfect scenes. Now, this is where you get your readers so involved in their story or in your story that they lose sleep, they burn their dinner, they completely lose track of where they are, and they become engrossed in what you're doing. All right. All right. Now, how to keep your readers. This is so important. Besides that narrative hook, you have to keep your readers reading your book. You can't just give them a narrative hook and then the rest of the book is crappy. This is why everything that I've taught you here so far kind of builds on the next thing. So we talked about the narrative hook, then we talked about your voice, then we talked about your dialogue, and then we talked about painting the scene. Now we're talking about how to keep them so you're building on, got them hooked, uh, found the voice, dialogue is realistic. Now we got to keep them going in the story. All right, good. I want to make sure that you guys are getting this. So please let me know if there's something that I go over that does not make sense. Okay. So we talked about how to hook your readers. We talked about how to keep your voice flowing so that they're following along with you. We talked about dialogue. We talked about what was the last thing we just went over? We talked about keeping your readers reading and how to end chapters. Now I want to talk about the number one thing that stops writers' careers. You've probably heard of this. Can anybody guess? If you just apply the principles the right way, it will work for you. You will have readers raving about your book. Okay? All right. Now, you remember those results that I talked about earlier in the webinar? I wrote the Narrow 3 almost 7 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry, 6 years ago. It's 2021 now. Okay? I did this. This is from this year, 2021. I ran this promotion in early April over a weekend. Look at those results. 731 Kindle downloads and 3 paperbacks ordered from one weekend. 9, 10, 11. And that was the promotion. And it trickled up from look at that. I mean, the results are right there. The results are right there. If I'm telling if you do this, this could be you. I'm telling you.